Kevin Stefanski, the Browns coach, talking about receiver Odell Beckham Jr. He was injured most of last year, developed a hernia during training camp that plagued him all year long. Jarvis Landry was also injured for much of the year. They're healthy for now. You know, they all go into the offseason and training camp. They're ready to go when it's time to start, but then they go out and they start getting reps and they start getting hit and they start getting hurt again. But assuming they can stay healthy, what's more likely? That OBJ and Jarvis Landry are a top 3 receiver duo, or their tantrums outnumber their touchdown total?
I would say they're going to be. Well, let's do a quick back of the napkin. Who else is out there for top 3 wide receiver duo off the top?
Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You could say probably DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald, or
Julio Jones and Calvin
Kirk.
Ridley.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sure we're missing someone very, very obvious here that people are going to get really upset at.
We did the draft earlier in the week, but that was, anything more than a day ago. I've already forgotten. Let's see. Here we go. I've got the list.
Back the Packers picked. Yeah.
Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins. How can we forget that?
Oh, that's yep.
Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders.
I'm gonna say that they're gonna have. I'm going to say they're going to be a top 3 wide receiver duo. I'm bullish on the Browns this year. I think they did some stuff with their offensive line. The coaching staff. I just think Baker is going to be. He's going to have a step forward. Last year was humbling for him. I think all those guys, like, you see it when you have so much talent and you have a season like they had last year. I think everyone has to wake up and everyone gets a little bit of humble pie, and you see that the following year, where that talent finally shines through. So I'm going to go with they're going to be a top 3 wide receiver duo, and there won't be many tantrums in Cleveland this year.
And you make a good point, because even though last year was regarded as an unsuccessful season for the Browns, they still were not horrible. It was just the bar was too high. They did a horrible job of managing expectations. Freddie Kitchens was not suited to be a head coach. Now, some would say that the Browns should have hired Josh McDaniels instead of Kevin Stefanski, but I think Stefanski has been more groomed for this job than Kitchens ever was. Kitchens fell into an offensive coordinator position for half a season. It worked. The quarterback liked him, so let's make him the head coach and see what happens. Well, what happened was it didn't work. This year, I think they are in position to fulfill the expectations because they're lower and they can exceed that bar, and everybody in Cleveland can be really happy about it. The Jets started 1-7 last year and finished 6-2. There's been a lot of chatter about safety Jamal Adams wanting out. There was an item in the New York Daily News earlier this week suggesting that Adam Gase, the head coach of the team, is the reason why Jamal Adams wants out. Offensive lineman Alex Lewis took to social media yesterday to debunk that, to push back against it, and got pretty aggressive about this concept of Gase being the reason Adams wants out. You know, when it boils down to it, here's the thing. Adams was trying to get a contract with the Jets, and he didn't want out until he didn't get the contract that he wanted. So if he'd gotten the contract he'd wanted, he would have stayed. Ipso facto, this doesn't feel like a situation where he just hates the coach and wants out. If they give him what he wants, he's fine. And Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator, yesterday talking to reporters, trying to do what he can to extend an olive branch to Jamal Adams. I mean, the bottom line is they're going to offer him whatever they offer him, and he's going to want whatever he wants. What's more likely? He's traded to another team, or he's on a Jets team that is at or above 500 and fighting for a playoff spot come December.
I feel like he's just going to be traded. This is one of those situations, Mike. The Jalen Ramsey situation last year changed my perspective on it, because I was watching how that unfolded. The entire time I'm saying to myself, when you have talent like a Jalen Ramsey or Jamal Adams, teams just don't let that talent walk out the door. Just because a guy is disgruntled for, a period of time doesn't mean they can't figure it out. Because at the end of the day, if you produce at a high level and you're an exceptional player, usually the team will eventually pay what you want, and everything will kind of work out. Watching Jalen Ramsey get traded, though, makes me think that now this is a league where, if a guy is not happy, he might be able to get traded right away, even regardless, people get mad when you say regardless of his talent level. So Jamal Adams, while he should be a Jet, and the Jets should figure out a way to keep him, I actually think that maybe this isn't going to work out and they will trade him and go with draft capital. And we talked about this last week, Mike. When you have a front office that didn't draft Jamal Adams, that changes things. Even though he's a great player, even though he's, one of the top players in his position, if you didn't draft him, you don't have that same loyalty to him. And you say, well, we can go get draft picks that can be my guys if we go trade him.
They teach you irregardless at Wisconsin. Is that where you picked that up?
I mean, it's just, what is it? Idiom? What is that? What it is? It idiom? Kind of like you? You're an idiom?
I think idiot is that's the right term.
Yeah.
Here's the thing to keep in mind, right? If they're going to trade Jamal Adams, I don't think you can, after Laramie Tunsil last year and then Jalen Ramsey, I don't think you can trade for a guy without getting him signed to a long-term deal. I think that's a mistake, and I think teams recognize that. So in this season of uncertainty, are you going to have all those planets line up just right where you give significant compensation to the Jets to get Jamal Adams and then you pay him a large amount of money at a time when there's so much uncertainty about everything for next year? What's the salary cap going to be? What are we going to be able to afford? What are these draft picks really worth? I think there's too many moving parts, and that maybe once Jamal Adams settles down and perhaps Greg Williams is going to be the guy to do it, that he realizes I just need to go forward and let's figure out my future after this season. So I'm going to pick, even though as of a week ago I figured there's no way to fix this, I think that by the time we get to July 28, folks are going to realize on both sides they got to find a way to make it work. All right, last one, and very important, very important. More likely that Coach Doug Duggerton, Coach Gus Duggerton wins a national championship with Toledo, or it's exposed that you're not really playing on the hardest level on the game. What's more likely?
Okay, so I'm putting you in the camp of all these losers and haters that all you do all day is think about what I'm doing and the level of difficulty. I show the level of difficulty during the game 5 times. 5 times during the game, I'll go and show it to the people, and they still think that I'm not playing at the highest level. So,
But wait, that's not hard. That's not hard to do when the games are pre-recorded and you can go back and splice in the false footage.
That's true. That's fair. And then also when you have a lag switch, so you can just hit a button and have everything mess up and then change everything. The conspiracy theories surrounding Gus Duggerton are some of my favorite moments on the internet in the last 3 months. I swear to you, Mike, the people that are in my Twitch chat stream, if we could harness the brain power, we would have already found a vaccine for coronavirus. That's how smart they are.
Well, and it just shows you what the thirst is right now for anything that feels remotely competitive and how badly we want to be able to watch something that isn't scripted, that isn't pre-planned, that is actual competition where no one knows the outcome, which, again, I don't know why they're watching the rigged games that you're playing, but still, it's close enough. It feels like a real game until you intentionally lose and or otherwise are not playing on the hardest possible level. All right, let's take a break. When we return, Coach Matt Rule of the Carolina Panthers used a bit of hyperbole when discussing his new franchise quarterback, or he hopes he's a franchise quarterback. We'll discuss that next here on PFT Live.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.